Yes, guys, this is Nearly Last and welcome. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is whether we'd like to see specialists return in Call of Duty 2016. Now, if we look back to when Black Ops 3 was first announced, then we heard about specialists being brought in, you know, with their abilities and their weapons. Me, like a lot of people, were quite apprehensive about how this was actually going to be working out, because obviously with Advanced Warfare, they decided to bring in the exosuits, and that didn't really pan out too well whatsoever. And I just thought, you know, Treyarch would be playing it a little bit safe. You know, they didn't really need to go out and try and push out these specialists, but they did it, and I was a little bit apprehensive, especially when I heard things about like kinetic armor. You know, I just thought people were just going to be running around being completely invincible, and then obviously like being invisible and things like that. It did get me a little bit more worried, but when we actually tried it out in the beta, tried out some of the weapons, the abilities, for me personally, it put my mind at rest. I just thought, this is actually great fun, and they really are. A lot of them are great fun. A lot of them work extremely well in certain types of game modes, in certain types of situations. So for me personally, I'm glad that they did it, and I really am actually enjoying them. Don't get me wrong, there are the other side of it as well. I do not appreciate that as well. It can become quite frustrating, especially like when I'm playing on hardpoint and maybe getting up towards the nuclear, you know, getting up on some of my high-end score streaks and things like that. And someone comes in and absolutely gravity spikes the floor, destroys me. That would come quite frustrating. Don't get me wrong, I know you can counter it by trying to jump up into the air, but let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 you're pretty much going to die. So for me, that could be quite frustrating, along with a few other things. I mean, like the Scythe is very powerful. I know that they've actually reduced the actual ammo on that particular thing, but that thing could just absolutely mow you down from the other side of the map quite easily. And then especially when you compare that with things like, say, like the Sparrow, which they have made it a lot easier. For some people it is very easy to use, but for others it can be the hardest actual weapon to actually use. But with the abilities in themselves, I don't find them overpowered or anything else like that as well. I just think that they work just nice, and it just adds a little bit of something extra to the Call of Duty experience. Now, I know a lot of people tend to not want to see them again. I know a lot of people wish that they were actually not in the game, but I know the majority of people actually quite enjoy the specialists. So it was whether we'd actually like to see them returning in Call of Duty 2016. Now that would be quite interesting to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we need to have, you know, all these exosuits or movements or anything else like that. We could quite happily still have boots on the ground, but we could still then have the specialists implemented as well, just to give us a little bit more variety. Now, for me personally, I like to sit on the fence, but I must admit that I'm going to be on the other side. I've got to be honest here, I like to see something like this returning. I find it quite interesting, I really do. Now, don't get me wrong, if they decide to go back to, say, like the World War era, or maybe go back to the past or something like that, then it probably wouldn't work out too well. I mean, it'd probably have to be like on a future setting for it to actually work out, but I would quite like to see it. I quite enjoy them. I think that they're a breath of fresh air. They just give that little bit of something out extra to the game to actually enjoy, and I can actually use quite a lot of them to my advantage when I'm going out and playing a game. Like I say before, it can be quite frustrating when those things turn up against you, especially when you get mowed down, or the Purifier comes running in and absolutely sprays and prays and just wipes everybody out. That can be quite frustrating, even if you kill the person anyway. So, for me personally, I'd definitely like to see it return. But leave it in the comment section below, guys, exactly what you're thinking. Whether you actually like to see them return, or whether you think that you just could be glad to actually see the back of it. Just give me some normal Call of Duty, boots on the ground, just the normal way that it was before. But anyway, guys, this is going to be Nearly Last checking out. Now, coming up on my screen now is my subscribe button. Make sure you're hitting that. And guys, if you could drop a like on this video, support my channel, that'd be even better. This is Nearly Last, and I'll catch you later.